Doop at us today on Doop by the River. We have Union Soccer back, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, it is back. We have a match this upcoming Sunday against Atlanta United. We are going to break that all down. We have some Euros. We have Copa America. We have a whole bunch of soccer for you guys. So don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. Let's get this started, guys. Done it! And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Welcome back, everyone. It's another week of Doop by the River. This week is definitely special because the Philadelphia Union are finally back. I will be 110% honest. I have been looking forward to this night since last night. If you are a Philadelphian, if you are a Philly sports fan, I'm still sick and throwing up from that game. I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't felt that bad since October night against the New England Revolution. But we're not going to talk about that because it's Doop by the River tonight. Of course, we're going to talk about the Atlanta match. We're going to talk about the Euros. We're going to talk about Copa America, what is going on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. Seriously, thank you so much for tuning on in here. Let me introduce to you guys my panel of Doopers, my experts in soccer. First up, let's introduce my man, Mr. Tim Lovinguth, representing Philly Sports Network. What's going on, Tim?
Always.
Hey,
I'm doing well. I'm ready to talk some Union soccer. I mean, we got Union Atlanta to come back to start off a crazy stretch. Crazy stretch. 3 games in 7 days after this 3-week break. Jeez. It's going to be brutal. But if any team can handle that, it's the Union. We've seen that over the last few years. So I'm excited. And, we got Euros and Copa America to talk about. Both match day ones are done in that. So that's another good thing.
Absolutely. And depending on what happens tomorrow night, man, the Union have a big weight on their shoulders for the city of Philadelphia. That is for sure. What is going on, Zach Lovasso? How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well. I got Brazil on my left. I got you guys on my right. It's a good day. It's a good day.
That's right. Yeah. Well, so I'm assuming all 4 of us are watching Brazil and Peru in this. It's the Peruvian opening for Copa America, so I'm sure all of us are watching here. And last but not least, man, this man comes with the nicknames every single week. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Justin Curtin Drip King Stan Account Freiberg. What's up, Justin? How you doing tonight?
I am all kinds of exhausted. Moving this week into the apartment.
Congratulations.
But I'm ready to talk some Union soccer. Finally, it feels like forever, guys. I don't know. It feels like it's been a little while. So I'm ready to get down and dirty in the dirty South.
So I have to ask Justin. You are moving to the Voorhees area of South Jersey. Will there be a Voorhees Union club out there now?
I mean, I'm sure since I'll be above Iron Hill. I maybe I'll convince the bartenders to throw on the Union matches.
Let's get a scarf in there, huh?
Well, yeah. Hey, you never know. Well, maybe I'll start get people to South Jersey. Be like, hey, come on over to Iron Hill.
There you go. Iron Hill, you don't even know yet, but you're getting taken over.
Well, what you guys are saying is that we're going to do a live podcast from Iron Hill, which is under Justin's new apartment.
This is why we love him, man.
It's I don't know. Is Philly area ready for that kind of?
I don't know. I mean,
they're ready for us, man.
People will be mad because it's in New Jersey, but it's fine.
Very nice. Before we move forward, guys, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the Parcero Phillies YouTube channel. All of the Doop by the River the video portions are posted on there. Of course, we are live we'll get back to we're still trying to figure out the exact date we will be doing these episodes on, but for sure, every week we'll be live on here. And of course, you can find us on Doop by the River wherever you stream podcasts. That is brought to you by Philly Sports Network, and that'll be on Apple, Spotify, Google, you name it. We are on there for sure. Guys, I wanted to start off this episode, though, because we had a little bit of Union news, And it's honestly, it wasn't really like breaking news, but it is still like, if you're a Union fan, you've been here for a while, man, this is the type of news that you love to see. The Union locked up Jim Curtin to a contract extension. It looks like it's going through 2023. I mean, the details obviously not too in full and deep, but when you see this type of news, you really just sit back as a Union fan and you think like, wow, we are witnessing MLS greatness as a manager here with Jim Curtin, what he's done already, being here since 2014, took this team to 3 U.S. Open Cup finals, winning Supporter Shield last year. He himself won the Shiggy Schmidt MLS Coach of the Year last year. What he's done to where he's taken this team is remarkable. Playoffs 4 out of the 5 years, making it to the semifinals this year in CONCACAF Champions League. We can go on and on about the accolades he has done. And remember, it was like, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago? People were saying, "Oh, Curtin out, Curtin call, he's got to get out of here." Everyone, kind of what they're doing right now to Doc Rivers, but it is remarkable to see what Jim has done here. Guys, we'll really, I just wanted to just talk about kind of what this means to you guys, because obviously it's kind of self-explanatory, this move here. We'll start with Justin here, man. What does this move? What does this really mean, man? What is the meaning, man?
It means that the reigning MLS Coach of the Year is staying here a little longer. I mean, Ernst and Jim both said themselves that despite, people only think of players getting European interests. Well, the big three, if you call it the MLS and the Union circles of Ernst Tanner, Chris Albright, and Jim Curtin, were apparently all subject to European links. So that's a big statement to say, wow, your coach, your assistant GM, and your GM are all being wanted by European clubs because they're looking at this model, as the Union model, going, wow, like that, it's sustainable. And that's what I think people are finally trying to realize, that what the Union are doing with building through the academy, with getting mid-level signings, you can punch above your weight, and it also means that you are really you're the goal, you're the things that people want to strive for. And for a while it was FC Dallas, Sporting KC. Well, according to recent reports, the Union are the number 1 academy in the MLS.
Take that, Dallas.
Yeah, which if you look at Twitter, Union Twitter with a little jab and just said, "Hey, Dallas, you might want to update that bio." But no, it means that Jim and Ernst and Chris are doing exactly what we wanted. And I know Union fans a lot of them hate to hear this, but this was a work in progress. It was never going to be right from day one. We weren't going to be splashing $10 million on a DP signing. It was, okay, $500,000, maybe $1 million. Now the last few years, you start to see, almost $2 million for Jamiro, around $1.8 million for Gazdag. Like, you're starting to see the money coming in terms of sales, obviously now with Brendan and Mark. But you're also starting to see a little bit more spending. You also see these guys coming through the academy. You have these young guys. I mean, Obrujo having a strong Copa America right now. Leon Flock being subject to, Gold Cup rumors. Like, what this team is doing is setting the foundation. And it really starts with everyone believing in Jim. I mean, early on, with Ernie, it felt like no one really gave Jim much of a chance. And when Ernst came in, he said, "Jim's my guy, and let's see how this works." And Jim was ready to help put his stamp on it. And
absolutely.
3 years later, you're seeing the fruits of that labor, and it's going to be scary to think, because I mean, we could lose Jim. Who knows? But it also means right now with that extension, as Tommy says, it means that teams are going to have to pay the Union a pretty penny.
Hey, I like that.
To pry Jim. And, people think of players with transfer fees, but you look at, like, prime example, Julian Nagelsmann. Coaches can be worth transfer fees too. You can get a little bit of change for a coach, but no matter what, it means that, hey, Philly boy can do something right.
Hey, I like that. I like that. And after what Gonzalo Higuain said this past week, Philly, why do you want a freaking DP like that? Come on now, Zach. Anything you want to add, or what are your thoughts on this extension?
Well, I was definitely part of the camp that wanted Curtin out a couple years ago.
At least you're honest.
I'm not gonna front. I was definitely someone who was like, he needs to go. The team sucks. I mean, the players weren't very good either, but at a certain point, you got to get rid of someone. It's easier to get rid of one person than it is to get rid of 11. But I mean, he's really turned it around. I mean, he has the backing of Ernst, which is probably the most important thing when
right.
running a team is being backed by the guy who's going to buy you your players. Because if you don't get the players you want, it's not an easy thing to do to coach them. There's reasons why Mourinho leaves a team every 2 years, and Conte won't go to Spurs, and all this stuff. And I think it's time to this contract is the window that the Union have to win now. Yeah. They need to get this another supporter shield and hopefully an MLS Cup trophy in the next 2 to 3 years, or else they're kind of going to have to restart again when Jim leaves and if Ernst goes, and it's going to be a whole nother rebuilding. And maybe they'll come back without Jim and without Ernst and be right where they were, depending on who they get. But more than likely, it's going to be kind of rough sledding for probably a year or two once those two leave, and then they'll get back. But I mean, it's a great deal, and I'm looking forward to 3 more years of that swaggy guy on the sidelines.
Absolutely, Tim. Any thoughts you want to add on there?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the Union and the thought of winning now. That is most definitely what this contract is about. I mean, Jim's contract was going to be up at the end of the year. There more than likely would have meant that he would leave. And if he feels like there's unfinished business and he wanted to come back for that, and Ernst Tanner was like, hey, this is the next step. Do you want to sign an extension and win with us? Then that's what they feel like the next step is. And to think back, Jim Curtin was signed as an interim coach 8 years ago. Like,
they're crazy.
He was an assistant coach, worked his way through the academy into the team, and then all that crazy stuff. And once this contract ends, it'll be after his 10th season. So he's already won 1 trophy. They're backing him as the guy to bring more. After 10 years, if he can win more, he can, then go off. Jim even said in a press conference, like, he does have a dream to coach in Europe. That is one of his goals. So most likely after this contract extension is up, that's where he'll want to go. And if he can keep coaching this team the way that he has over this last few years, the system that he and Ernst Tanner have developed for a first team and a style and an identity of a team, which was never really there for the first 10 years of the Union's existence, is instrumental. And he'll most likely be somewhere in Europe or maybe coaching, a national team. Hey, US, what are you going to do after Berhalter? You want to call
oh, dude, I would love to see.
But no, I think it's an incredible signing, and it was a surprise to me because I thought that this would be the last year of Jim Curtin. I really did. And the way that Ernst was able to get him to stay for 2 more years is awesome.
Right. It's interesting because I was in the camp that, look, I'm not stupid. I understand what Europe means. I know that is the pinnacle of the sport. And I felt like if a top 5 league is going to come calling, you leave. Like that's what I figured. But to hear Jim, obviously as the fan, man, I already appreciated Jim enough, but man, it makes me appreciate him even more because Jim and funny in a way, Ernst is not even from America, and he gets it as well. He wants to see the city succeed. He wants to see a trophy. They both do, and it's so remarkable. And man, I only have to believe that it's going to happen. Like, you guys know what I want, either CCL or MLS Cup. I know it's hard to win both of them. Not many teams do that, but if we can win one of 2, man. man, it'll be definitely be set. But Jim, from the four of us here at DOOP, actually from everyone at Philly Sports Network, man, congratulations. You absolutely deserve this. And dare I say, the 5 for 5 Philly sports fan that I am, Jim Curtin is reaching Andy Reid status in Philadelphia. Yes, I said that. Yes, I definitely did said that. All right, boys, are you ready to talk some Union soccer? Are you ready to preview a match?
Yes.
Do we even know how to do that? No,
I don't remember.
You guys do. I do.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, guys, this with Atlanta here, obviously on the pitch, and in different sports, it's been a lot of bad blood. But today, there's no bad blood between Atlanta because we have another special guest to help preview this match. This man I met on TikTok. I stumbled upon one of his TikToks and I was like, wow, this guy is very insightful. I love it. I followed right away. We became friends there and just showing love back and forth. But today, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my man, Mr. Alex Zimmerman. Alec, how you doing? Good night, man. Welcome on in to DOOP by the River.
Hey. Yeah, so as you said, you met me from TikTok. If anybody wants to follow after this, that username is suspected KGB, like the Russian Secret Service. Behind that.
I love it, man. I love it. Alec, real quick, so, man, I just wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit because when I watch your stuff, obviously you talk about the game worldwide. Like, it's not just America, it's not just Europe. You kind of know the game from different angles. And you seem very neutral. Like, what is kind of like your love for the sport or the background and how you fell in love with the sport?
Yeah, it's definitely untraditional, I'd say. I think I was about 6 years old, and my dad came home from work one day, and he said, "Do you want to play youth soccer?" And I was like a kid. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And ever since then, I've just fell more and more in love with the game. And the people that it's brought me to meet as well, I would definitely not be the person I am today without this beautiful game.
Wow, I think we can all agree here that that's kind of how we feel. I mean, we all have our stories, but it definitely has changed all of our lives here for sure, man. But Alec, thanks for tuning on in. So I hope you're ready. We're obviously going to talk about what is the kit that you're wearing. We're going to get to some Euros talk and some Copa America talk as well, my man. So you ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it, man. So first up, I mean, obviously, let's get to Atlanta United. We actually did play you guys this season in the CONCACAF Champions League. Obviously, it went our way. It was kind of two different matches. Obviously, we went to Atlanta. We took care of business. I'd never seen a win like that in my life. Winning in Atlanta was pretty remarkable. And then we come back. You guys had a lot of energy. You ended the first half with a goal. I think Justin and Tim and I were there. I don't know if Zach, were you there?
No,
one game
I
you
was
were
not
there.
there. I was
Okay.
there for the Saprissa game.
That's what it was. But yeah, all three of us were there and like thinking like, oh man, oh no, a little nervous. Second half we got it done, but kind of, I want to get your point of view. What did you see from Atlanta in those two legs in Champions League?
Yeah, I would say that first leg was actually our best performance of the season, to be quite honest with you. We have not created chances with the same consistency ever since then. The second leg, I mean, being that far down as soon as you guys score another goal, okay, it's over. Time to just focus on the league. But there's so much about that first game that I wish we could replicate because I feel like that is the peak of what Heinz's system could be when it's going well.
Absolutely, man. I agree. And you guys definitely did some good things, but I agree. Like, kind of finishing in the final third was kind of an issue for you guys. But in that first half, in that first leg, man, you guys were dominating possession. You guys looked like you had some good opportunities, but we just couldn't finish. And Casper came alive in that
Andre
first leg.
Blake.
Yeah.
Andre Blake for sure. So what has kind of changed since CCL? What has been going on with Atlanta United here?
Yeah, I'd say we still look like a team trying to find its way under a new manager, and that's because we are. It's not been the best so far. No, we've still got 10 points from 7 games, which is not the worst thing in the world. But in our last 3 results, we had to grind out a 1-0 win over Montreal in the very last minute. It was a good goal by Marcelino Moreno, but would have been nice to put that game away sooner. We did go out to Seattle and draw them 1-1, which was one of our better performances of the season since they've been high-flying pretty much this entire time. And our last game was a 2-2 draw with Nashville at home, which was particularly disappointing because that was one of the few games where we looked completely in control, no problems whatsoever, and in the final 10 minutes, defense switches off and concede 2 goals in 5 minutes. So it's not been great. I'd say kind of a consistent theme throughout this season that's been a problem for us is that chance creation and finishing, because so far through 7 league games, we've only gotten 9 goals.
Okay. Do you think Hines has got his guys, or do they need to get some players that would fit more of a system?
I would say eventually, yeah. There's been some rumblings about how much power the manager has actually got in terms of choosing his signings. Carlos Bocanegra apparently made a lot of decisions for Frank de Boer before he was fired. So it's interesting. We could definitely use a secondary goal-scoring threat because there's not really a consistent goal scorer without Joseph Martinez at this point in time.
How's he looking with that injury?
I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Zlatan Ibrahimovic right after he tore his ACL, but the first few games back for Manchester United, it was not pretty. He was playing, but he might as well have not been there. And then after another few months of time in rehab, he goes to the Galaxy, and then he announces himself to the league in the way that he did. I think Joseph is still recovering, like he's still getting to that peak fitness, but also he doesn't look as good because, again, chance creation has meant that instead of him being, attacking, being on the last man of the defense, a lot of times he's actually coming into midfield and deeper, just trying to play 1-2s and advance the ball. So it's not where you want it to be.
Okay.
Just to jump in on that real quick, do you think that's because Atlanta doesn't really have that dominating number 10 that they used to have with Miguel Almiron? I know it's been a few years now, but they really haven't found a replacement for him in that style of play that they like to have.
Yeah. I would say even without Miguel Almiron, we always had Julian Gressel before he was let go last season. He and Joseph had a really productive partnership. But so far, I don't think he's linked up with Brooks Lennon in that same way. And with time, hopefully that'll happen. It's not going to happen this weekend. Joseph is in Venezuela for the Copa America. So
and has COVID.
Yeah, and has COVID.
Hey, really?
Yeah.
He's one of the 12 players that tested positive.
Man, that man can't catch any breaks these days.
Yeah.
So Alec, quick question, a little off of the regular Atlanta train, but do you how closely do you follow Atlanta 2?
I went to one game, and that was in their initial season, so not that closely.
Not closely. Okay, because I have a guy I used to play against who's now on the team, Aiden McFadden. I don't know how familiar you are with him, but he's playing right back for them right now. Scored a couple goals, created a couple chances. He was always a number 9 when we used to play, but I just didn't know how much you knew about him and like what he's doing down there, and if you thought he could come up or whatever.
I've heard the name. So far, I don't think we've utilized the 2s, I think, as well as we possibly could have. When that team first came about, they started calling it, the proving ground, and like this is where our next homegrown stars are going to be. And it's almost used more for rehabilitating injured players at this point in time. So hopefully we can get to a point where we're actually using that team well.
So you took the trip out of Kennesaw there, Alec?
That was when it was still in Gwinnett, actually.
Really? Okay. Are they still in Kennesaw in the Atlanta too?
Yeah. So their first season they played at former Gwinnett Braves, I guess now the Gwinnett Stripers AAA baseball stadium, and ever since it's been Kennesaw. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Alec, I got to ask, the one player that really has stood out to me, and Jim Curtin said it himself before the CCL match, is Santiago Sosa.
Absolutely.
I mean, that kid, for a defensive mid, is everything that the Union love in El Brujo and more. What is it about this kid? Because I've seen, a bunch of games, and he's like the one bright spot out of everything. Like, busted defenses, not holding leads. But Sosa, every game, no matter what, I barely heard a bad word said about him.
Yeah. I got to say, it sounds like having a defensive midfielder playing that kind of role is the absolute key to Heinz's system. So if there was any sort of player that he was going to push for the most, it was going to be someone in that role. It definitely doesn't hurt that he came from River Plate's system. So you get that top level experience in Argentina from the start. I'm not going to make a comparison between the Argentinian League and MLS, but I think he's maybe a step above some other players just off the bat. One other thing, though, as much as I would like to praise Sosa relentlessly, when we played the New England Revolution, they did double team him, and he was still able to get passes to where he wanted to go, more or less. It was a little bit more difficult.
Okay. Very nice, very nice. It's it's been interesting to see Atlanta in the last couple of years, because obviously when they came in, it was like guns a-blazing, man. You guys started off really like winning right off the bat. The style of play was there, Tata Martino, and then you had Miggy and Joseph. They were the two best friends. It's crazy, kind of like the transition like Atlanta has been going through since those days, my man. So what do you think is going to happen on Sunday as far as the lineup goes? What do you see Heinz putting out there?
So just back to front, obviously goalkeeper Brad Guzan. From left back to right back, George Bello. He's been pretty solid. He's almost more of an attacking threat than he is like a quality defender, but he's one of those that should be making a jump to Europe sometime in the next year or two. Center back pairing, I'm going to say that it'll be Miles Robinson, who's our talisman at the back, and then Anton Walks. It could be Alan Franco in place of Walks. Franco is our new DP signing, but he hasn't really impressed yet. And I don't know if that's a matter of he's just not settled yet or if he's had some sort of injuries. If Franco does play, he's very aggressive. Like he almost comes out as if he's a center defensive mid to chase down the ball from the back. But the partnership between Robinson and Walks is a lot more established, so I would expect to see that.
Are you happy that they're back to a 4-back set there?
I mean,
they did line up in a 3 in that first leg, I think.
Yeah, as long as we're winning with it, I don't really care.
This is true. This is very true.
It is what it is. I guess there's possibly a system that he could play that would put all three of them in, but I don't think he's shown any sort of indication of that yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Right back has been Brooks Lennon consistently throughout the entire season. He'll look to get forward and put balls into the box. Like you mentioned, obviously Santiago Sosa at center defensive mid, basically the first name on the team sheet at this point. So Emerson Heinemann would have been very likely to start as our box-to-box midfielder, but he tore his ACL in training last week. So expect to see Franco Ibarra in that position instead. He's one of our new additions from this past January, and he more or less plays the same role. He might be a little bit more defensive, a little bit more inexperienced than Heinemann, but more or less like for like. I don't think there's a massive downgrade in quality there. I'm going to say at number 10, we'll see Ezequiel Barco, who I wish would just be consistent for once. Every time that he looks like he's good, he gets called up to Argentina or he gets injured. So I have to see what happens there, but he's showing a bit more signs of maturity and consistency in the past season or two.
He's 21 now?
I think so.
He signed really young here.
Yeah, I believe he came over as an 18-year-old. There's a fun story there. He got involved with his teammate's wife or girlfriend.
So a Mario Icardi kind of situation.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of those funny MLS stories that gets kind of thrown to the side.
Yeah, Atlanta. It's been interesting for young players.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The wing situation is a bit harder to predict with consistency. Marcelino Moreno is likely playing there since he's the guy with the number 10 jersey on his back.
Mm-hmm.
He looks better in the center of the park, but so far when both Barco and Moreno have been available, Moreno plays on the wing, Barco plays central. On the right wing, I think it'll be Jake Mulroney. It could also very easily be Eric Lopez or Jurgen Damm. Hard to tell at this point. Since Joseph is out up top, I think it's pretty much nailed on to be Kubo Torres up top.
Okay.
A very frustrating player for Atlanta fans. He will get himself into the right positions and either just bad luck or, bad decision making. He cannot score to save his life. And it's just so infuriating because there's been so many opportunities. He could have had at least 10 goals in about the year that he's been with us so far, but I think he's got one.
Yeah, man.
I do want to ask about the formation for Atlanta because we noted this when we did our live stream for the CCL game. Every app says, "Oh, this is a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3," and as soon as the ball kicks off, I'm saying on the stream, I'm going, "This looks more like a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3."
Yeah.
Is there what is it? Because every time I see initially be a 3-5-2, and then I'd see Santiago Sosa dropping deep, and I'm like, okay, so it is a back three, it's a back four. What are we doing here? Does Heinze really have a preferred shape? Because he seems very flexible. A formation, it's a very loose term because the formation changes every 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, I guess it's almost better to think about the players having specific roles rather than a set position. So I would say it is still a back four as a defensive shape, but when we get settled, we have the ball, we're in our own half. The mandate is for Sosa to drop in between the center backs. The center backs push wide, the fullbacks go as far up as possible, and then you start to work from there. So I would not call Sosa a center back. When he's pushed, he will step out into the midfield and shield the center backs when defending.
This is literally the 2018 Philadelphia Union style of play. when the Union had Harris Medunjanin and they would drop him back between the center backs, and you'd have Austin Trusty going wide and Keegan Rosenberry going down the flank, and all the players who are not with the Union anymore. So.
I will say though, it does like with that Union team and with Atlanta. I mean, the one thing, and we said it at halftime that game, it leaves you open to the counterattack if you're not careful. And at least on the first two goals, Atlanta got torn open, and it was like, oh, okay, they don't need to do this 1-2. They just need to hit the ball up the field with some regularity and get that through. So that's one of those, attack, but be careful of the counterattack because then you're getting, down the other way, and then you have the memeable Brad Guzan on his butt again.
Yeah. I'd say there's definitely a section of Atlanta fans that wants Guzan out as soon as possible, with having basically negative reaction times.
Yeah. But, hey, he's given us great memeable moments of him on his butt. So listen, the more he stays in the MLS, the better moments we get.
Yeah.
I know, man. Brandon definitely gave him some nightmares. That's for sure. All right, guys. Let's talk about some predictions. Some predictions for this Sunday here. First game back for both teams. I'm curious to see how the Union will look, and I'm obviously curious to see how Atlanta will look. But I will say, obviously, Atlanta's going to have a full capacity. I'm sure a lot of Atlanta fans still are a little salty from what happened in Champions League. So I'm expecting a very lively Benz. Okay, I'm expecting very lively Benz. Yeah. Alec, I will let you start since you are our lovely guest here. What do you see happening this upcoming Sunday, and give us a final score?
Yeah. One last thing, actually, about the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Atlanta has actually released a brand new third kit tonight. So
give it to us. Give us the thoughts.
As I've been told, it's the boozy brunch kit, or the bacon and OJ kit. I will never look at it any other way.
I thought of Virginia Tech, man. Go Hokies.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it'll be interesting. That'll be what we're wearing out on Sunday. It's not going to be this nice black and red, but
So are you not a fan of it, Alec?
No, I quite like it. I'm convinced I'll get it. It's just a matter of when, not if. And I don't know how much detail you've taken a look at it, but I guess since it's called the Unity Kit, what they wanted to do with it is kind of give as many messages on it. So, and I think they said 11 different languages. You've got unity, trust, family, love, things like that. And it's in Korean, Chinese, Spanish, Italian, some languages I'd never even heard of, just all over the kit as well. So
yeah, it looks like in the orange, that kind of stripe, that's where all the wording is. I'm not a fan of it, but I can understand it. It's got a good, at least a good message behind it.
Yeah. So I think that'll contribute a little bit to the atmosphere, I guess, on a Sunday. As for the actual game itself, I don't think we're defensively perfect yet, but I think we'll still at least get one. So honestly, just kind of a 1-1 draw. I don't think either team's going to walk away satisfied, but.
All right. So for Alex purposes here, so this is the kit, guys. I know it's a little blurry, but.
I like it.
I like the accents. I'm just not a fan of. Yeah,
I think it looks good.
I get why they did it. Obviously, you see the red and the black. That's what Atlanta's been having. But they're also mixing in, it looks like, to me, is that peach orange, which they obviously did a really good job in the first couple of years with those kits.
Yeah.
So I see what they did combining it together. I mean, I felt like, man, you could have saved this for another. I actually do like it only because I understand if you're an ATLian, like they like to say down there, you could definitely appreciate the message behind it. The history, the young history in the club is all in there as well. So it's definitely kind of cool.
I will say one last bit about it is the promotional material made it look like it was going to be just black and that peach color, which I would have maybe appreciated a bit more than this Virginia Tech look. But I don't need
Go Hokies. Very nice, very nice. So Alex got a 1-1 draw. I'll take that. I think I'll take that. Tim, what do you got, man?
To be honest, I haven't even given this game enough of a thought to think of a prediction, except for tonight of just trying to put some thoughts together. But I mean, I kind of agree with Alec. I think both teams are coming off of this break. They don't have their preferred 11s. If Union don't have every single player that they would want. I know El Brujo has been starting with Venezuela in Copa America. Daniel Gazdag is coming back from the Euros because he's injured. He has a slight knee injury. It's nothing significant. According to Jim Curtin,
yes, guys, relax.
Yeah, he won't be playing. In the next week or so, I would say. So yeah, both teams coming back. Players kind of getting back into the swing of things. We know the Union will come out with their pace and their pressing, regardless. But yeah, I think a 1-1 draw is fair, especially in a full capacity crowd in Atlanta. You can take that point in MLS, and especially since the Union have 3 games in 7 days. You take that point, you come home for Columbus midweek, and you try to get a win there.
Let's go. Tim, let me ask you, and I guess I'll ask this to Zach and to Justin as well. So for the lineup, I would assume it would pretty much kind of stay the same with, the goalkeeper with Andre Blake in the back 4, the midfield, Leon at the 6, with Jamiro at the left and Fontana at the tip.
That's what I would think at this point.
Maybe Casper at the tip. Maybe.
No,
Jim talked about that. Yeah,
I'm thinking it's going to be McGlynn at the left and Jamiro at the top, kind of like Chicago.
I'll take that.
Yeah, there's so many players right now, and coming off of this break where the players had a week of vacation and now they've had around a week and a half of actual training again. So Jim has his guys, and it'll be whoever was good in training in this last week and a half in the midfield, at least. The back 4 and the goalkeeper are always the same. And then you probably have Casper as a striker, and then with a partner, either Corey Burke or Sergio Santos.
I like it. I definitely like that. Zach, what are your thoughts on Sunday's match?
Well, I was also going to say 1-1, but I'm not going to be boring. We'll go.
No, I'm just kidding.
We'll go for something a little different. I think I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 2-1 Atlanta. They're at home with the new kits. I think the stadium's gonna be rocking, and I think the Union's line up stronger without El Brujo. I know I'm in the minority there, but I think even with Flocken, but I think missing like having Gazdag there but not there, I think is gonna be something that's like weighing on the team's mind a little bit. Like they know this creative goal scorer is coming in, and someone like that we really haven't had in a while, if ever. So I think Atlanta's at home. Like I said, I think they're going to take 2-1, even though I think it's going to be 1-1. I'm going to say 2-1.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, Justin, give it to us, the detailed prediction.
There's going to be a lot of fights, and then the game's going to happen. And I think it's going to be an ugly game. I know a lot of Union games are, but I think especially this first team back in 3 weeks, it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out affair because, I mean, the Union this is the first of 3 games in a week. You have Atlanta on Sunday, you have Columbus midweek, and then you have Chicago. So it's going to be – I feel like there might be rotation. I mean, given how Jim doesn't like to rotate his lineup fully, but – the way it feels like, if I'm leaning towards a stronger lineup, I feel like a stronger lineup might be for Columbus and not Atlanta. Jim likes to kind of get that road point and then come back and get those 3 points at home. And because let's be honest, Chicago is almost a guaranteed 3 points at this rate. I think I'm going to agree with Alec. In the consensus, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. It's going to be an ugly game. There's probably going to be a lot of yellow cards. I'm going to say this now. I think there is no love lost on the field and maybe off the field. I don't know. I've heard some of the stuff from some of the Union fans traveling down to the CCL game. Not always a warm welcome. Granted, the game was not pretty, but it wasn't exactly. Great, but I think at this point you're on the road. If you steal 3 points, that's amazing. But realistically, if it's 1-1 and we're approaching the 85th minute, Jim's just gonna sub on a center back or a defensive mid. Yeah. He's gonna kind of bunker and explode on the counter like he tries to do.
Right.
It sounds boring, but a draw feels likely.
Very much so. Very much so. I will say, Justin kind of stole my thought. I'm just really looking forward to what's going to happen, like the extracurricular activities during Sunday's match. Obviously, they're like last time when we left this in Chester for CCL. The fireworks are definitely there, and I'm really looking forward to is the handshake after.
Will there be a handshake?
Will there be a handshake? That might be like a prop bet there. Like,
I'm sure it is.
Will Hines shake Curtin's hand? We shall see. But it's gonna be fun. And honestly, man, this is like what you want for MLS. Like you want to see these small little, I guess, rivalries start to begin. And if Atlanta does become a rival for us, then so be it. So be it. It's only good for the league. The thing about me is that I just didn't like how the MLS was just trying to create these regional manufactured rivalries. Rivalries are built through competition, playoffs, important tournaments, and such like that. So definitely, I can definitely appreciate it. But we'll see. May the best man win, Alec. And hopefully, it's a fun match, of course. But gentlemen, we haven't had much MLS soccer to talk about because we have international play, and what absolute great games we have been watching here. So I want to start off with the Euros, obviously. Excuse me. Great. So honestly, it's been super entertaining. Some great stories as well. Obviously, some heartfelt moments in this tournament too. I wanted to clarify first. So, Alec, are you a Welsh guy?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Actually, if I can go on a little tangent here.
Of course, please.
Yeah, I was at Euro 2016 in Paris for that. And
that's sick.
One night when I was just at a cafe with my mom, just the two of us went, we happened to sit at this cafe with a bunch of Welsh supporters there who were immediately some of the most friendly people I've ever met. There were a few of them a little drunk, having a good time, trying to kick balls through open apartment windows in the street.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So ever since then, actually, I'm on the Welsh FA's page. I bought a flag and kind of like was hanging out with one of these guys. And Welsh FA photographer comes through and says, "Hey, I'll snap your picture if you're up looking at the Eiffel Tower." So, yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I have to be a Welsh fan after that.
All right, so pretty much what I will, I'm going to go through the scores that we've had up to date, and then I will allow you guys to give me kind of your thoughts, what has been catching your eye in Euros, whether it be a certain match, certain moment, whatever it may be. Because honestly, guys, man, this is what we needed as soccer fans, just a great, absolute international tournament like this. So the first game, so Zach called this right, and I'm sorry, Tim, but you did not call this right.
My underdog in Turkey have 0 points from
everyone's dark horse is the worst dark horse in history.
Always. It's always how it goes, and I will never not pick a dark horse, so it's fine.
So Italy won 3-0. Of course, our big Italian community here in Philadelphia was ecstatic with that result. Of course, we just mentioned them. Wales drew to Switzerland 1-1. Obviously, one of the I don't know how we can say it, like, it was definitely one of the darkest, but also kind of a heartfelt moment in the tournament in the Denmark and Finland. Finland won, but of course the story was at the end with Christian Eriksen. Justin, I really want to commend you for calling out ESPN. That's absolutely terrible what they did. That was definitely a scary moment for all sports fans of what happened to Eriksen. And it's crazy to think as well. I mean, obviously, if it happens to anyone on the pitch, it's definitely scary. But to see like a star quality player like Eriksen happen to that,
And
yeah, go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
yeah, and for me, the reason why I tweeted that, as a lot of people know, I myself have a heart condition. I have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which means I have an enlarged heart with a regular heartbeat. So when that happened, I didn't see the exact play, but I saw him drop, and then I saw them doing compressions and my heart instantly dropped into my stomach. As like I said, as someone with a heart condition, that was literally my worst nightmare personified on the field. And Christian Eriksen, I'm going to be 28 next week. Christian Eriksen's only a year older than me, and to see that happen to him, someone who's a peak athlete. I mean, I played my first game in a year, and I played well, and I thought that was like it. Watching that and the whole situation, the whole time, I mean, I was a kind of an emotional wreck because it hit way too close to home.
Of course.
And the more they kept dragging on, you could tell the announcers were very uncomfortable with this. They were basically begging for this to be cut away. And people were saying, "Oh well, ESPN couldn't do anything against UEFA." No, ESPN at any of their local feeds could have cut away. The UK feed, the internet, all the feeds around the world mostly cut away. The United States, and I'm looking at that going, ESPN, like this is gruesome. This you are. I mean, they were zooming in on him, and that's why the players from the wall around him. You had their captain comforting Christian's wife. I mean, she was. I mean, looking at that, the father of her children is on the ground. At one point, they said his heart stopped. His heart stopped before the first round of compressions. His heart had stopped. He was legally dead, and that's. I mean, it was horrifying, and I just couldn't believe that ESPN would just keep showing that, and keep showing that, and keep showing that. And I commended the players for standing by their teammate, and you could tell even the Finnish players did not want to go back on the field. And according to reports, UEFA threatened them with a 3-0 disqualification loss. And it's like, seriously, you could not have waited a day. Could not have waited one day to play this game. I said, you know what? Shame on ESPN. Shame on UEFA. This is really one of the dark, probably the only really dark moment of the tournament.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And obviously, thoughts and prayers go out. Eriksen does seem like he's doing much better as he's obviously conscious, and obviously we'll give you more word on what happens. Belgium 3, Russia 0. We had England getting some revenge, 1-0 on Croatia. Austria 3-1 against North Macedonia in their first Euro, so that was a special moment for Macedonians regardless of the result. Netherlands 3-2 over Ukraine. You had Czech beating Scotland 2-0. Patrick Schick with probably the goal of Euros thus far. We have to look through it all, but man, that was a nice goal he had there. Slovakia beating up on AK Gaming's Poland. We are sorry, AK Gaming. And then you had Spain drew against Sweden. Of course, on Tuesday, I was all in. I was fully invested. Portugal put the shellacking in the 80th minute, erupting for 3 goals and beat Hungary 3-0. But hey, Hungary gave them a game. France with a 1-0 win over Germany. Mats Hummels, man, I feel for you, brother. I feel for you. Then we had so we're now on match day two, the second round of the matches. We had Russia 1, Finland 0, Wales 2, Turkey zilch, Italy 3, Switzerland 0, Italy on fire, Ukraine 2, North Macedonia 1. Of course, we just mentioned Denmark. Unfortunately, they couldn't finish the job today, but they lost to Belgium. And then the last game of the day, Netherlands 2, Austria 0. Alec, I'll let you start, man. What have you taken away thus far in these early games of the Euros 2020?
Yeah, I really think that this has been a great tournament for goalkeepers, to be quite honest, and not even the big ones. Seen Danny Ward do it twice for Wales now. Robin Olsen basically kept Sweden in the game against Spain all on his own. And I remember making a TikTok where I mentioned other goalkeepers, and their names have left my mind right now. But, it's not just been guys like Courtois and Lloris. There's been a lot of great goalkeeping at this tournament.
Yeah, man, you nailed it on the head, man. That's a really good take. I haven't even thought about that, but it has definitely been a solid outing for a lot of these goalkeepers, man. Tim, what have you taken away from Euros 2020?
I've taken away that my dark horse picks, I should just never say them ever. Yeah, I already mentioned Turkey. We're not going to talk about it. 0 points. Denmark 0 points off 2 games. I know their circumstances a little bit different, and obviously we're always wishing that could be a normal looking team there with Christian Eriksen on the field. What else did I have? I had one other team. I can't even remember. Scotland 0 points. So there you go. There's my 3. Those are my 3 that I had going into the tournament. So rough go there, but no, I'm enjoying the games. I mean, it's nice to be able to see these games being played in all of these different countries across Europe, because it's not just in one venue like it normally is in one country. It's really showing that the pandemic is still here, but we're able to get at least this kind of normal international tournament and high level soccer. People representing their countries, some for the first time. Just great stuff all around.
Yeah, man, and you mentioned it with the pandemic and whatnot. It's funny calling this the Euro 2020.
Yeah,
we're in 2021, but definitely it's been really good. I'm curious. I've been waiting to hear what Mr. Zach Labasso has to say on the Euros. What have you taken away, man?
First off, from what I've seen,
been watching this diligently, man.
Absolutely. I don't think I've missed a game yet. Maybe one. But from what I've seen, I know they haven't played the best competition, but Italy's been the best team at the Euros easily. And people obviously came in touting France as the favorites. France did not look very good against Germany, if I'm being completely honest. Germany dominated that game. On the counter, France is deadly. Mbappe's faster than every single person on the planet, I think. He made Hummels look like my grandma.
With a 7-second head start, basically.
Yeah. Like Hummels probably had 10 yards, and Mbappe was like, yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. But Italy looks like a team that can just do everything. They can defend. They love defending. It's the Italian way. They have creative midfielders, which since Pirlo, I don't think they've had anyone who can ping a ball or work like Locatelli did. Barella had tore it up in Serie A and is now tearing it up at the Euros as well. And the front line is exciting. Insigne and Berardi just go at players constantly, and you don't really see there's not many players in this tournament that like to dribble at defenders like Berardi and Insigne are doing. in terms of teams that have kind of disappointed me, until KDB came on today, Belgium, both first and this game, kind of disappointed me. They didn't really get out of like third gear against Russia, so there wasn't really much to show. And then the first half against Denmark was all over them, but then obviously KDB came in and did what KDB does and changed the game. I don't think Portugal is as dangerous as people say. They looked so stale in attack. There was no creativity, and then Hungary got tired, and they took advantage of that. I mean, the one goal Ronaldo scored was gorgeous. I think it was 33 passes before they ended up finishing that off. But Portugal didn't really impress me all that much. I think Germany's going to finish second like I predicted. Based on what I saw, I think they'll get a result against Portugal, if not 3 points, and they'll take 3 points off Hungary, as sad as it will be to see Daniel Gazdag's nation go out. But what is one more takeaway that – and let's talk about Wales. I mean, Alex's team, they look exciting. Like, they're exciting to watch. And that's really what you look for in international tournaments. It's not really who plays the – Spain played really pretty soccer. They couldn't score a goal. And, like, Wales was just – the Wales game – was it today? Today Wales played, right, or yesterday? Yesterday. Okay. It was very exciting to watch. Bale looked like his old self. Daniel James looks good, and I just enjoy watching them. It's teams like that get me excited for the Euros, because they may not play the prettiest soccer, but they're up and down. The games are back and forth, and it's just exciting soccer to watch, which is really, really what international play is all about.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, if you're a casual, that's what I've been saying on TikTok too. If you're a casual sports fan, like, just tune into Euros. It is the best soccer you'll see this year, other than Champions League. But it has been really, really fun here, man. All right, guys, let's move on to Copa America here. So the matchups that we've had here. So we had Brazil starting it off with a 3-0 shellacking. Obviously, Venezuela going through COVID protocol. They had the lineup in unorthodox formation. And Brazil went to town. But, it's cool seeing El Brujo taking on Neymar. Us Union fans, we can definitely enjoy that one, especially Union Hulk. Shouts to Union Hulk. My Colombia got a big 3 points to open up this tournament, a 1-0 win over Ecuador. We had Argentina and Chile drawing 1-1. Paraguay took a 10-man Bolivia and won 3-1. And then today we had Colombia, who were down a man. They drew against Venezuela, and then we have right now Brazil 1, Peru 0 at halftime. And what was supposed to be the MLS goalkeeper of the year, he allowed a goal today. I had to put that in there. I had to put that one in there. We'll start with Justin here. Justin, what have you taken away? It's been early. We've only had 5.5 matches, but what have you taken so far away from Copa America?
I'm just gonna say that in either tournament, it appears players don't remember how to take PKs. Because in the Euros, only 2 out of 6 total penalties have been converted on the initial penalty. And in Copa America, I've seen at least 2 saves so far on PK. So goalies are apparently getting pretty good at guessing, but the one thing I'll say is El Brujo looks like he can play with the national team. I mean, I know he was forced on because of COVID cases rampant in the Venezuelan national team. But in both games, what I've seen, he is not afraid, no matter who is on the field. I mean, Brazil won 3-0, but in that first half, all I saw was Brujo having Neymar in his pocket, bossing him around, hacking at him, getting him upset. And when you get Neymar upset, he tends to kind of run off his game. And
I love that.
But it's been, it's kind of been what we expected with the Copa America, at least the way we predicted it. But I mean, goalkeeping itself has been a staple of all of these tournaments so far, it seems.
What about you, Zach? What are you taking away here?
Well, Brazil looked phenomenal in their first match. This Peru-Brazil match, from what I've been seeing, has been very contested. Peru's had some chances. Brazil's had chances. They finished 1. But, I think – I don't know. I think it's going to end up being Argentina and Brazil as the last 2. I mean, it is what it is. If anyone hasn't seen Messi's free kick against Chile, it was phenomenal. And it was funny because they kept showing the one that he had, I think it was like 8 days earlier against Chile as well, where Claudio Bravo got the best of him and made the save. And then you back it up about 5 yards, and then he ends up putting it in the top corner, as he typically does. That game was really good. It'll be interesting to see who goes through. I mean, 8 teams out of 10 go through, so really Bolivia and then whoever else from this group will end up staying home. But I think it's going to end up being Argentina and Brazil going all the way. Unless can they possibly end up on the same side of the bracket?
I don't know, actually.
Because I don't know how the bracket works or anything.
I don't know. This is a weird Copa America where there's not 12. So I actually have not looked at how that spaces out.
I don't even know if we've ever had 2 groups of 5.
No,
it's usually 12. There's usually 2 countries that are invited.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Australia and Qatar were the 2.
Australia and Qatar, and they can't do that.
It used to always be U.S. and Mexico in this, and they would bring like.
If the U.S. was playing in this tournament right now, oh my days, I would be all over Copa America.
Brandon Aronson go up against William Barrios.
Hey.
I would love to see that. Tim, what have you taken?
Honestly, I'm kind of with Zach. It's been what we expected so far. I'm not gonna lie. I'm totally backing Argentina. I want Messi to win. I want him to win so bad. He needs to win something, and I don't think he's gonna. He's gonna win the World Cup. There's no way they're good enough to win a World Cup with the teams in Europe that are just so much better than Argentina. And I think this is his shot to win a championship with his national team before he hangs him up. One of the all-time greats for sure. So.
For sure, man.
So that's pretty much been my takeaway. Is things are happening that we kind of all talked about on the last podcast. It's been pretty predictable, at least these first few games. And like you said, having the match days only be 4 games, 8 teams playing, and then 2 kind of sitting out and making it 5 match days instead of the traditional type of international tournament. It's a little weird. But hey, it's still soccer at a high level. People representing their countries, which in summers, you need to see that. It kind of takes me back to a little bit of normalcy, which we're craving. So
110%. Crazy Reese, you're bringing some really good questions here. Gazdak did not play. He's got a little bit of a tweak in the knee, nothing too crazy, but he didn't play. He wasn't even 18, and he actually got sent back to Philadelphia. This is a fantastic question. We actually just kind of talked about this. Justin, Zach, and Tim really kind of brought it up. Maybe, definitely in the future, near future, he could probably be leaving the MLS, and we could be getting something for him.
I think El Brujo, if he keeps playing the way he's playing for Venezuela with, in these types of games. I mean, I think the 0-0 result against Colombia is one of the biggest results so far in these first few games we've seen for Venezuela. I didn't see them really getting points in this tournament at all, especially when they got all the COVID cases. But the fact that he was probably the best field player against Colombia today raises his value significantly. So, we could definitely see him as a transfer in the next year or so, especially if he keeps playing the way he plays.
Justin, quick, check the transfer market.
I would presume he goes Serie A if he goes to Europe.
Wow.
I guess. That would be – I feel like that league is just made for him.
Well, we already know we negotiated with Juve before, and it didn't go well before the pandemic, but it is what it is. Alec, give me what are your thoughts on Copa America so far?
Yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a different route here. I think it's just actually insane that it's being played at all at this point in time.
Thank you, Alec. I appreciate that sentiment. Yeah, it is definitely crazy.
I believe it was Bolivia's striker Marcelo Martins shared a post yesterday that said 52 people had gotten COVID as a result of the Copa America so far, and we are halfway through match day 2,
Yeah.
part A. So, CONMEBOL had all the options in the world, and they chose to move it from 2 countries, one of which had governmental instability, the other having COVID, and then decided to put that into a country where both those problems were happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Genius.
Best of both worlds.
Decision making. But yeah, on the actual
Insanity.
football side of it, it's been interesting so far. I think, honestly, Venezuela-Colombia has been my favorite game so far, just to see, a really impressive defensive effort, which was fun to watch. Farina's, again, with that trend of great goalkeeping. But I'm going to have to go somewhere a bit different for our tournament winner. I actually think they haven't played yet. Uruguay.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Suarez back on the up. Edinson Cavani back in good form. Better midfield with Federico Valverde, Diego Godin, Jose Maria Jimenez last dance. I think it's there.
Is Loleto still there or no?
Which one?
Nicholas Loleto from Seattle. He would get.
I'm not sure. I think he
don't
got
think
called up.
there. He was kind of having injury problems.
He used to get some. Oh, did he really? I didn't.
Yeah,
know
he's
that.
been.
He
I know
was
he's been.
injured this year.
Yeah. I can't remember if he got that call up though, but yeah, Uruguay plays their first game tomorrow
Against
against Argentina.
Argentina's got two tough games to start the tournament.
Yeah.
That should be really, really interesting there, man. Yeah, that's some really great point there. Uruguay, listen, they're always a dark horse because obviously the veteran players, but that I can definitely see that happening here. Obviously, I've been watching a lot of Colombia more than anything in Copa America. It's just crazy to think that, we came a couple years ago, a long way, really. We had so much attacking flair, like even with James, Quintero, Falcao, and I watched this team, and it's like it doesn't feel the same way anymore. And I was watching the whole. Fox's crew is also pretty good, and shouts to Mo Adu. He was looking really slick on the post and pregame show. To talk about James, and do we actually really need James? And I feel like we do need James, but that's also a problem as well. I just feel like we're not properly turning the page onto the next generation. You have to start thinking about life after James. We're already starting to think about life after Falcao, but life after James, what is that? We have to find that type of style. We need to figure that out. We need to find those attacking players. I mean, I love Duvan, I love Luis Muriel, but how are we getting the ball to them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are we getting the ball to those guys? And that's definitely an issue for me. But I mean, shout out to Venezuela. They played a really well system. I think they recognized that. Brujo had a great performance there as well. But I agree with Alec. I mean, this tournament shouldn't have been played. But I talked about it as well, as being Colombian American, seeing what's going on back home. The Ecuador game and even some of those World Cup qualifiers before the tournament, it kind of gave a little bit of hope, put a little bit of a smile on people's faces in a definitely tough time. But I agree with you, man. Like, getting COVID's not worth it. And just what's been going on in Colombia too, like it definitely shouldn't have been played. But FIFA federations are going to FIFA federation in, and we got a tournament here, man. But we'll see what happens going forward. Guys, before we close out, I want to get your opinion on one thing and one thing only.
Oof.
I love the faces. You guys can't see it, but everyone's face is definitely different. Alec, you can start on this one here, man.
Oh man,
where do I begin? Right?
It reminds me a lot of that zebra Manchester United jersey from last season. I don't know. I could get used to it eventually, but I certainly will not be buying it. I'll put it that way.
Okay. They won't be getting Alex money. What about you, Tim?
I'm not going to buy one if that's the question. I don't hate them after I saw the women wear them last night in their game. But yeah, it's not a great look for me. I get it. Like it's your alternate kit or whatever. So it's not your home or your main kit. So you can go a little flashy with it, but yeah, I don't know. I just miss like the days of like a sash or even like the Waldo kit, like those sort of things. Or right before right before 2010 World Cup, how they had just like a white shirt with stripes. Like, yeah, down for that kind of stuff. Like, make it look classic. But this is a little bit too much for me.
Oh, I'd bring back the popsicle.
Oh, the popsicle kit was the best.
Yes.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, no, I think they're very. They look like a warm up top. Like, it doesn't look like a kit.
Yeah.
It doesn't look
I
like
would
a
agree
kit
with
to me
that.
at all. And I tweeted yesterday. I said these are hideous or something like that. In my opinion, has not changed. I don't like them at all. I don't at all.
All right, so the last person, I left him for last because this is the kit king. My man's got an extra closet for kits. So, Justin, will this be making an appearance in the Freiburg closet?
That is a very good question. Yes, most of my closet in my apartment is made up of soccer kits. I'm kind of 50-50 on it because if anyone remembers the 2019 Gold Cup kit, this is pretty identical. That one was red and blue horizontal stripes. This is kind of a mashup of that, plus similar, as Alex said, to the Manchester United kit. I saw seeing it in the women's game last night. It wasn't bad. Like I think people were like, "Oh, why is the back look weird?" Well, whenever it gets around the numbers, it always looks weird. Like, no matter how good a design is, when it comes around the numbers, it always blocks out. It's just the way it is. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but they're not bad. It's not great, but it's definitely not the worst kit we've had.
Right. So like, kind of in a trend of fashion, abstract is kind of a thing now in fashion. So I'm curious if some of these soccer kits manufacturers will be getting into that. I feel like Nike was also putting out some good kits as well, and this was obviously controversial. I mean, I think you guys know me by now. I like different, so I kind of like this kit here. But I can understand why you guys wouldn't care for it. It is interesting. It's definitely bold. It's definitely a risk. It's not like the Bayou kit risk, because obviously that one worked out pretty damn well. But yeah, it's interesting. I was curious to see your guys' thoughts on it, being the U.S. soccer fans that we are here. But guys, that is another episode of DOOP by the River. Of course, I really want to thank Alec. Alex, seriously, thank you so much, man, for coming on here. And please keep killing it, man. You're doing a great job on TikTok. You keep bringing the stories. You keep bringing the great opinions. And the neutral thought, the neutral mindset you have, man. It's absolutely beautiful, man. So seriously, thank you so much. And keep going hard, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. Really appreciated it.
Absolutely, man. But come Sunday, we're enemies.
Absolutely.
Enemies for 2 hours, and then
Yes, absolutely. From Tim, Zach, and Justin, first off, seriously, thank you for another episode, guys. We've been knocking these bad boys out, and I can't wait to get back into a full swing of MLS schedule. Guys, seriously, thank you for tuning on in, whether you're coming from YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or TikTok. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Barcelona Phillies YouTube channel. We will be giving you weekly live podcasts from this channel. And, of course, if you want to listen on this a little bit later, you can definitely do so there. Wherever you listen to podcasts, it's brought to you by Philly Sports Network. DOOP by the River. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find it there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Alex Zimmerman. That is Tim Lovinguth. That is Zach Labasso. And that is Justin Curtin, Drip King, Stand Account, Freiburg. I go by the name of Barcelona Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on. Talk to you next week. Go Union!